Hey, my name's Izzy and this is Rolling Virtual Cards, coming at you with, I think it's not my first, but it's my first official Magic video. I'm gonna be trying to make videos on a regular basis around Magic, specifically Commander, or just Magic news in general. I have some time when I get home normally that I can pop out a quick video every once in a while. If not more often than once in a while. So that's my goal here. What I was going to do now, because a lot of my stuff is going to be deck building, I have made a lot of Commander decks recently, and my goal is to show them off using Moxfield, go through them, talk about the Commander, stuff like that. As you can see, I've got a lot of different decks here. The main thing is my set review, which is 202 decks so far. I've done every single deck from Wild of Eldraine, Lord of the Ring, March of the Machine Aftermath. I'm working on March of the Machines. Oh, and I did Commander Masters. So that's where I'm at. I'm starting top down, and when the new decks come out, I tend to focus on trying to make those decks. I wait for the full set to be released before designing the deck, because a lot of times decks or commanders nowadays have a lot of cards in the set that go hand in hand with it. So I tend to wait till the set's fully released, or at least the spoilers are fully released, and then I can go off of that. I love how this is my most viewed deck. Most likes is that one, but that's just Lord of the Rings stuff that I wanted. But Billy Boy being my most viewed deck. I love that deck. But anyway, what I wanted to do before doing any of that was make a video talking about power level and Commander and how I see it, because none of the creators out there have really hit exactly how I see Commander set, and I'm going to do that with a very simple commander, Kinrith. Kinrith is a 5-color commander, so it's already strong with the 5 colors, and it my cat's coming back up. Here's my cat. Everyone can say hi to my cat. She can be with me for a bit, then I'm going to set her back down. But simply put, my commander, my goal is to, in this video, is to explain the, go ahead and go down. I'm going to explain the different levels of Commander and where and when to use them. We'll start with Casual. I mean, I guess I can name each one here. So you've got Casual, then you've got Intermediates, followed by High Power, followed by CEDH, followed by what I coined TCEDH, which is just like tournament level CEDH. When you look at like when I go to build a deck, I usually start just like designing an intermediate here, or CEDH, depending on the commander. Something like Kinrith, with how much card advantage he has and how an infinite mana outlet just wins you the game, just kind of screams, yeah, this is a CEDH deck. You could easily build it with CEDH. Toss in an infinite outlets that are like the best infinite outlets, some other 2-card combos, and win the game. But the goal here is to show you that you can build Kinrith in any which way. So if you start with Casual, I built each one, other than the tournament one, which I'll get to why, with Gigantha. I think Gigantha is just a fun way to build decks. I love the companions. So if you were to build this deck and you made it in a casual sense, the thing I try to avoid here, if I can pull it up, give me a second. Let's pop open a new video here. Let's pull up, we're going to turn up EDH Rec. So what I try to avoid here is the top 100 Salt cards in my Casual deck. I avoid the salty cards because the goal of Casual is to be able to play with the most people you can play with. So just removing all the most hated cards. I don't go past 100 because that's asinine at that point. You really just run into a lot of unnecessary cutting of cards. But there's a lot of cards here that I just go like, yeah, this is just not a Casual card. Too many people dislike it. It's stopping other people from playing the game completely. Makes the game unfun. Takes out one opponent. Is too much advantage. Slows the game down. Stuff like that. So I avoid that in this type of deck. So the other thing I avoid is infinites. If I'm building a casual deck, I don't run infinites. I try to find a way to win other ways, and there's plenty of ways you can win other ways. I'll explain in here. But in this type of deck, you're gonna find like a lot of creatures because Kinrith can win by pumping them up or having them get pumped up and then using his red. So when you look at here, you're gonna see a lot of card advantage like birds, Weathered Fair, Faber, Elder, stuff like it's got a Sacrificial Tribe Elder. You're getting stuff that is all really nice mana advantage. Since you're running plenty of creatures, and with Trample, Professional Facebreaker, and Grim Hireling give you more mana advantage. And a lot of mana is good because that's going to let you put a lot of 1/1 counters on stuff, give you a lot of card draw, allow you to revive some of your other creatures. Mere Battlespheres being my top end here. Getting those 1/1s is actually pretty useful if I can buff them. And I have two major ways to buff them in this deck. The first one is Mere Entity. With enough mana, you can make everything like a 10/10 or make a bunch of with enough mana, you can make everything like a 20/20 possibly, and then give them all haste and trample, and then just run them all over. The other one you can do is Blossoming Bog Beast, because this gives them all trample and +X/+X, where X is the amount of life you gain 2 off of him, triggering, and you can gain 5 life for 3 off of Kinrith, which if you do that twice, they're all getting +10/+10. You do that 3 times, it's 15/15. 4 times 20/20, and if you can do this 4 times and you get that 20/20, this is a 25/25 with trample. All of a sudden you're going to one-shot someone with that, and then the rest can go at other people. You have some fun cards that just give you at least like protection, like Shalai and Mangara give you some added protection so people don't attack you and stuff. But it's a lot of like just get a little, like it's card advantage. You're trying to gain that advantage state in a casual deck. Biomancer's Familiar gives you that advantage by causing Kinrith stuff to cost 2 less. So his 1/1 counter is now just a green. So if you pass the turn and you just have a bunch of green mana left, you can just put a bunch of 1 counters on stuff or on himself. You can gain a bunch of life to make sure you don't die. Draw a bunch of cards. Now drawing the cards 2, or gaining life is 1 white. Returning a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. And it's from a graveyard onto the battlefield of its owner's control. So you can even be nice with Kinrith if you want to. Team up with people. Hey, I'll give you that card back. I can return your creature to from your graveyard to the battlefield if you wipe the field first. Or like destroy that creature over there. And you got like Toski to draw extra cards. I try to make casual decks start off cheap. Everything here should be around $10 or less. Toski is like that $11 card, but it's so strong in this deck with the card draw that it's just needed. And if you go down to sorceries, you're going to see a lot of stuff like Culling Ritual is cheap and super useful. Faithless Looting, because you're putting the creatures in the graveyard, you can revive them later. It's fine. Lots of more ramp. This deck is heavy in ramp because you want to draw a lot, because you want to use Kinrith a lot, and ramp is just good. And land ramp is so strong in casual because we're not running land wipes or any way to control the lands. Something like Soul's Majesty is great because Kinrith is a 5/5 and get bigger and bigger using his 1/1 counters. It's great. Blasphemous Act, great board wipe. Vandal Blast, same with that. Just ways to control the field. Nice interaction package, along with a few more, along with another ramp spell. But great interaction package just to remove stuff. I wanted to keep that low CMC so that I could use it when I need to and still use Kinrith to stop stuff. Decent advantage package here with a mana advantage here. Color fixing here. Sword of Animus is one of my pet cards. I will put it in any deck that runs enough basics. Super great way to just get those cards out onto the field. Each turn, if your commander can attack, it's great. I used to have like a love for Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots, and then I went into this moment of hating them, and after building so many decks, I've realized why casual decks run these. Keeping your commander around is just so important, and it just makes it so much harder for people to kill them. Oketu's Monument is a great way to just get some creatures out on the field. And with Vigilance, they can swing and keep up. It's super useful. Lifecrafters, Bestiary, I think the card can be overrated, but in a 5-color deck where you're limited because of Giganta, it's a great way to draw some cards, and it's also a great way to always scry on the top. So if you're running too many lands, you can make sure you run it less. Good enchantment package here. Again, Training Grounds reduces the mana costs of his abilities. Aura Shards is not in the salty cards list, at least not top 100s, which surprised me originally. I thought Aura Shards would definitely be like up here because it's like whenever a creature enters the battlefield. But I went through here and I didn't see it. It's not here. Maybe it makes the top 200, but it wasn't top 100, so I can play it. If people complain about it, go ahead and replace it. I think it's the only iffy card here about whether or not you should or shouldn't play it. But it's such a great way to just keep that advantage going. If you have something like Oketu's Monument on here and you cast a creature, you're getting 2 ETBs on creatures. You're popping 2 artifacts under creatures. Or artifacts or enchantments, which is just such a great advantage engine. Disadvantaging your opponent. Great control there. Keen Synth and Snake Umbra. I love these cards as ways to just draw cards in this deck, put them on Kinrith, swing with them. Propaganda and Ghostly Prison is great in this deck because it just prisons. Hey, I can swing with my stuff, don't attack me, right? Curse of Opulence is a pet card, but it's so fun in these decks. Growing Rights of Outlaw gives you so much green on its flip side that you can use it to just put so many 1/1 counters on creatures. Beastmaster's Ascension is another one of those buff all my creatures, giving them all 5/5, and then all of a sudden you just give them Trample and Haste with Kinraith and you can just win. Whirlwind of Thought is great because I've got 13, 24, 30, 24, 32, 44 non-creature cards here. Which is just insane. I'm not running Planeswalkers. That's weird. A lot of Planeswalkers I guess do cost at least 2 pips, which I can't run. But it really does just make it casual here. And then the casual land light up, you have a bunch of tap lands. All the basic ones that come in untapped, if you have 2 or more basics, they're cheap, they're affordable, they're great. I'm running all the 3 drops that just come in tapped. Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds, the Ash Barrens, of course your Exoted Orchard and your Command Tower, and then 2 islands and 2 swamps because those are the lowest colors. So you can see down here, it's the lowest colors I'm running, with the most being green, followed by white and red. Green's the most in most 5-color decks that don't have good land because you need ways to ramp. But this is a casual deck. It's a mid-range deck. Giganta here will help you cast stuff. If you don't have much else to do, you can pay 3 to put it in your hand, cast it for 5, and you can use it to reduce all of Kinrith's abilities to just the generic pips. If you have something like Biomancer's Familiar, Giganta is going to make it so you can give all creatures Trample and Haste, put a 1/1 counter on a creature, draw a card, pay 1 to draw, or gain 5 life, pay 1 to draw a card, and then pay 2 to revive, return a creature, which is great. Very useful commander or companion. So that's where I come from here for casual. Again, casual is really just meant to, I can take this deck to Friday Night Magic or to some Magic events and just have fun playing with people. It's strong, it has good synergies, it has win cons, but nothing here is like people are going to get upset. You move from casual to intermediate. Intermediate takes casual and just says, hey, I no longer care how you technically feel or if you're going to get upset. We're going to all agree in this game here that we're not going to get upset. It's a game of Magic. If someone's out early, they can go find a new pod, or they can wait and play with us. Watch people play Magic. I love watching people play Magic. It's one of my favorite things that I do is watch people play Magic. And so it doesn't bother me to sit there if I get taken out. I'll just watch them play Magic and have a fun time. The games are usually quicker because people aren't complaining about what someone else is doing or the fact that they can't do anything. Again, same thing. Kinrith, Giganta, But you're going to see a few differences here. Number one, there is an infinite win con, but number two, a lot of the deck is a lot more, it's much more expensive, honestly. Yeah, you will see that it's more expensive. I don't know if I can find the price of the deck here. Yeah, it's at the $570 mark, whereas the other one was at like the $200 mark. The main thing is I fixed the lands. Intermediate doesn't necessarily need better lands. That's loud. But it does add a lot to the game by having a lot of better lands. It adds that era of just like being able to play the game. So I didn't add fetch lands. I just added the shock lands. Honestly, you could build a casual deck, like a Kinrith deck, casual, this is the cards I had around, made the deck, liked it, let's put a little money into it. I always suggest people in a 5-color deck, put the money into your lands. Add all the shock lands. You don't need the fetch lands, in my opinion. Add the shock lands, add something like Forbidden Orchard or City of Brass, so you can get just that better sense of like that more consistency when it comes to your colors. But what you're going to see here is a few more cards. One of the more expensive cards is something like the Esper Sentinel. It's quick, it comes down, it draws you cards early. You need that card draw. Another card is like something like Bloom Tinder. I wasn't running Bloom Tinder before because it's a little expensive at the $13.99 mark. I was just running Faborn Owler, but they go into a combo here in this deck, which and same with Kami of the Whispered Hopes, because you can get 1/1 counters with Kinrith, and this also combos with Kinrith with the 1/1 counter thing. Sure, you can still win with something like Mirror's Entity, but the fastest way to win is with one of those cards. The rest of these cards, or Sanctum Weaver, because you're running enough artifacts, enough enchantments. I mean. You're not going to see a lot changed here, other than I think I tossed Toxic Delusion here as another board wipe because it's affordable and I had the space. And not a much change here. I tossed an Arcane Denial just because I wanted some more control. Here, Heroic Intervention is here because it's a great card. It's a little expensive. You're going to see something like Staff of Domination because it's, with the right creature, can go infinite as well as a backup. With enough mana, you can just use it to kill everyone. To make infinite mana with it. And so it's infinite draw. That's what it was. Yeah, so you can make infinite draw, gain infinite life with this one, so you can win there. But the win con here is with your enchantments, which is going to be freed from the real and Pinum Zoro. That just goes on one of the creatures that can make a lot of mana, like Feyburrow or Sanctum Weaver, allowing you to just infinitely make mana, while also just being decent ways to ramp in this deck using Kinrith in that way. So you can still outgrind your opponent, but with that infinite, you just have a way to end the game. Oh look, I got my infinite combo. I can draw my deck, cast my creatures, put infinite 1/1 counters on them, and then attack with everyone. Something like Ristic Study is 100%, and Smothering Tides both in the hate in the salt filter. Doesn't matter. You're just running these guys because they're strong cards that are going to allow you to get that card advantage you need. So this deck, I wouldn't take a lot of those cards or the infinites to a casual deck or a casual game. Too many people would be all like, oh, I don't want to play against this U1 with a 2-card infinite with Kinrith deck. That's not fun. And that's what you're trying to avoid with that. Close that. But you can pop this up next and you can go straight to high power. So high power for me, high power takes a CEDH deck and cuts the price. You choose a price code, 50, 30, 100, wherever you want to cut it. You're basically making the deck as strong and potent as you can, paying little extra money or proxying the cards that allow you to win faster. But your deck is heavily based on cutting the cute cards for win cons and card advantage. You just trying to out card advantage your opponent. There are a lot more card advantage cards here. Something like Deathrite Shaman could be in a casual deck, but not enough people run fetch lands, so you're not going to get its ramp off of it. It's not very useful. But if you see like this field, it's still a Giganta deck, right? But your win con here is going to be with something like Dockside Extortionist. And there's a lot more stacks pieces in here, slowing the game down. Just not letting your opponents win. Trying to get that card advantage over them. While again, still playing like Giganta, right? A lot of more interaction here, just a lot more interaction. Good card, good mana ramp. Like lots of ramp and lots of card advantage and a much better land pile. With the focus being like, hey, I'm going to win with Dockside. I'm going to get Dockside out. I have plenty of ways to do so. And I'm going to make sure that no one else can beat me while doing so. I'm going to slow the game down, beat people up, use my card advantage with Theoden, with Kinrith, so that I can win. Use my mana advantage with Giganta so that I can get that card advantage out and win the game, stopping my opponent from defeating me. I noticed this deck is actually missing some cards. I think I accidentally removed some cards on accident. The deck still stands. I just need to grab Esper Sentinel because I don't know how that got removed. If I can spell Esper Sentinel right. I can't spell Esper. Great. Is that how you spell Sentinel? Of course it's not. Why would it be? ESPER. There you are. I don't know how that got removed. I'm just going to remove Spellseeker in this case. Doesn't do as much in this deck. But yeah, your goal is to just grind out your opponent, stacks the crap out of the field, and win off of something like Dockside for infinite mana. Because Dockside's one of the easiest ways to get infinite mana in high power. You can run more infinite outlets if you want to, but it's really not necessary in a deck like this. This deck is going to mid-range the crap out of them, mid-range control the crap out of the game so that your opponents can't do anything. You've got too much interaction for them to stop, and you're just going to slowly, oh, I had no interaction I had to do, cool. Let's just draw cards off Theoden. Let's just keep my life up. Let's just revive one of my creatures I need. Oh, you killed my Dockside, cool. Let's revive it with Theoden. I don't care. I can get them back easily, right? Like, you're not stopping me here. I'm gonna win. That's the concept here. Again, there's other cards you could probably toss in here. We're running both, like, we're running like a Bloom Tender, so you could run untaps with it to make it, to go infinite there, but it's just not necessary because it's a bad card. High power is going to remove those. This combo's good. It wins you the game. But it's not a good card otherwise. And just puts in a bunch of good cards. You can win over time with card advantage. And then if you get into your infinite, if you get into your win con, you automatically win. That's kind of what you're doing with a high power deck. A lot more focused. A lot more like good pile when it comes to like the style of high power. So it's just that next level up of I built a CEDH deck, but I cut the power because I couldn't afford it. CEDH is where I think proxying is rampant. And I'm completely for proxying. If anyone's against that, that's for you. I don't know many CEDH players who are against it. I love proxying a deck for CEDH. Or for high power, if I need like a specific card, even intermediate, like if there's a card I need for a combo and I can't afford it or I can't find it, I don't buy cards online normally. I am going to I'm going to use I'm going to proxy that one card. Not many people mind. If they do, I won't play the deck, I guess. But when you go to CEDH, again, you still have Gigantha, but this is where you're going to see, like, the decks are expensive. Ragavan's expensive. I took it out of the previous deck. That was the only expensive creature, to be fair. But, like, Demonic Tutor and Imperial Seal and Wheel of Fortune are all expensive. They're in this deck, though. All the free counter spells and Cyclonic Rifts are in this deck. Why? Because they're just needed in CEDH. You could take this deck. Intune is expensive. It's $150 now. Like Lion's Eye Diamonds, $500. But Underworld Breach is just such a good combo in this deck to just get infinite mana, which means you can draw your deck out, which means you can revive all the you could mill your entire deck, get all the creatures in the graveyard, revive them with Kinrith, and swing out with them. You don't have duplicate lands, and you don't have duplicate lands because why would you want duplicate lands if you're actually no, you're not even running that card. So you could run duplicate lands. I forgot, because it's Gigantha, you're not able to run Thassa's Oracle. But this deck, again, you can sit there, mind your own business, and just pop into a CEDH table here and win a game. Like, this can win a CEDH game, and it's still a pet deck. That's the difference between this and tournament level. I'm running Gigantha. I like Gigantha. No, it's not as good as the regular Kinrith deck. It just isn't. So what do you do when you want to move on to TCEDH? You're dropping Gigantha. You're dropping Gigantha, you're running Thassa's Oracle, you're running stuff like Bar into Infinite with Dockside, you're running stuff like Kinnan could have been in the previous deck, but it just wasn't necessary in that deck. But you're running stuff like Seedborn Muse because you have infinite mana, and infinite mana is going to allow you to, or not mana, you have Kinrith, so Seedborn Muses allow you to interact and constantly use Kinrith. You lost that one in the previous one. Eternal Witness is in this deck now. You got stuff like Finale of Devastation that couldn't be in that. Eldritch Evolution that couldn't be in your previous one. Couldn't run Force of Negation or Force of Will in the previous one, or Mindbreak Trap. And to be fair, I didn't build this deck like I did the other ones. I went to Magic Top 8. I looked for Kinrith decks. I took the one that I thought looked the best, and I stole it, took the cards out of the... I cookie cutted it, took the cards out I didn't love, put the cards in I do like. I think they were running Wheel of Misfortune. I don't run Wheel of Misfortune. Shout out to Play to Win. I don't. I hate that card. I don't understand it, and even when I do understand it, it never works out for me. It's out. But this deck is to a T. Like, I could take this to a tournament, and if I knew how to play Magic good enough, I could win. That's the idea here. That's the simple concept. I could win with this deck. It's got just the right amount of control pieces with just the right amount of card advantage to just win a tournament. But it's not my Kinrith deck for CEDH. That's what this one is. Completely different concepts. Like, 100% not the same deck. This is mine. This is so much more of, like, my level of, like, how I would play a Kinrith deck if I was playing CEDH than the other one. But that's what I'm getting at. Those are the different levels. CEDH isn't you must play these commanders. You can take any commander and make it a CEDH. It means making it the strongest it can be. And you can win games with it. Especially if you're in Dimir. Or Dimir plus other colors. You can win games with it. But if you're trying to play commander and you're at the Friday Night Magic, or whenever your local game store plays Magic, it's less bad when you just have a group of friends that play it. Your power levels tend to fluctuate in the same like vein. Everyone has like, this is my most powerful deck, and you all play the same powerful deck, and then you all switch to the more casual decks later on, stuff like that. But when you go to a game store and you, like, next time you go, if you see this video, try this out. Ask them if they're running it casually. Like, are you playing a deck that, like, you just want to have a fun time? You don't want infinites. You don't want anyone to feel salty. You just want everyone to have a fun time. That's a casual deck. Like, sure, everyone can have a fun time with any of these, but I mean, like, on the most basic levels, no one's getting hurt. No one's feeling like the game went too short, but the game can still end. That's a casual deck. The second level up, intermediate, simply put, is that level of, hey, no, do you care if I run stacks pieces? No, I don't care if you run stacks pieces. Cool. If they don't care about stacks pieces, if they say they don't care about stacks pieces, or they say they don't care about infinite 2-card infinite combos, you're an intermediate allowed. Right there, you're having a good fun time. Intermediate decks can even go up against high power decks. There's a lot of crisscross there. You might have a chance. Do not play intermediate deck with a casual deck. I mean, you can, but you're gonna run into people who complain way too much about it, and then you're not gonna want to play the deck anymore, and you're gonna get butthurt. Because you're gonna have a bad time because they're gonna be complaining the entire time. High power, if they're like, my deck is focused on this one win, they're at high power. And I'll tell you now, if they are CEDH, they're going to tell you their deck is CEDH. They're not going to want to play with you because they want to play CEDH. It's not fun to rumple stomp people with a CEDH deck. They're going to win, and it's done. Or they're going to win, show that they can win, scoop, and then it's a 3-player game of Magic, which isn't fun either, you know? So, you know, and if it's TCEDH, again, that's the same thing. That's like CEDH, TCEDH. I like 5 levels, and TCEDH, again, is like you took your fun CEDH deck and made it so you could go to a tournament. And TCEDH, I will say, tournament level CEDH is not like you can run whatever commander you want. That's why I chose Kinrith, because Kinrith is arguably one of the best commanders out there. But that is the levels of commander in a gist that I can get out there for people. Simply and thoroughly as possible. If you have any questions, drop them in the doobly-doo down below. And I'll answer them. I don't have a lot of viewers at this point, so I've got time on my hands. I will answer them. Everyone have a fantastic night. I love you all. Peace.